Well, hey, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. We are live. This is Open Mic. My name is John Campea. I'm joined by Mr. Robert Meyer Burnett, and we are here to do something real simple. It's here to kick back, relax, and talk about anything in the world of film, TV, movies, entertainment, whatever that you guys want to talk about, because this is Open Mic. Rob, good to have you here this afternoon.
It's good. Cheers. No alcoholic beverage, but
yes,
cheers.
Diet Pepsi for all, I think.
It is Diet Pepsi all the way around.
For those who are wondering, I drink Zevia during the morning show. I'll have a Pepsi during the afternoon.
Oh, I tell you, hardcore. You got a problem, John. You got to watch that.
Yep, I know. I'm edgy. I'm really edgy. Hey guys, so what we are going to do here is we're just going to spend the next hour or so taking your live comments and questions. The super chats are open right now, but they're nearly full already. So you got a few minutes to get in a thought, theory, topic, or question that you want to send in. Go ahead and do that, and then they'll be turned off in a couple of minutes. But Rob, before we get into that, I got to bring something up. I'm going to make a statement, and I want your reaction to that statement. Because Anne was putting around doing some work, and she threw on a movie. And I was caught off guard by how magnetically it stopped me from doing what I was doing.
Okay.
I just had to stop and watch it for a bit. And then she put the same movie on again this morning. So I'm going to make this statement. Steve Martin's Father of the Bride is a perfect movie. Listen, it has been a while. It has been a while since I saw Steve Martin. I think it's Diane Lane. Martin Short as Franck. That is, I contend, a perfect movie. It is perfectly charming. The relationships are adorable. The dynamics between all the characters are outstanding. Being somebody who watches Succession, seeing a this tall Macaulay Culkin, or Kieran Culkin, I should say, in this thing is a little bit disarming. But that played, and like, Anne was laughing and crying and like all this kind of stuff. And then Father of the Bride 2 started playing after that. And it was like, this movie is like almost equally as perfect. But I know, do you remember like Father of the Bride?
I do remember Father of the Bride. And I haven't seen it in a while, but I did love that movie. I think, John, I think that's a perfect example of when a movie knows what it is.
Yes.
And everybody, I think, didn't Steve Martin write it?
I wouldn't be surprised. I would be surprised.
I mean, look at that cast. I mean, what's not?
It's one half of Only Murders in the Building. And
absolutely. And I think, look, obviously, when you've got actors and directing and writing, that's all on the same page, you get comedy gold. But you're right. This movie, I would call it winsome. It's a winsome movie. It just puts a smile on your face. And look, I mean, also don't forget Diane Keaton. The great Diane Keaton. And the three of them have such great comic timing. I mean, it's a great movie.
And what's the name of the scientist from Jurassic Park again who plays Martin Short's assistant in this? It's not Benedict Wong. It's
no, I know what you mean. It's
Knight? No.
No.
It's the guy
Asian guy.
Who's the scientist in Jurassic Park. It's a BD Wong.
Yeah, it's BD Wong. That's right. What it is. BD Wong,
who's so great in this. And the end of the first movie comes, right? The end of the first movie comes when she gets on the phone and calls Steve Martin, says, "Dad, I love you very much." My wife, Anne, burst into happy crying. It's like, okay, yeah, you know the movie is hitting the right notes when that, like at like 4 or 5 different times she just burst into tears. Of course, my wife lost her dad about a few years ago. Her and Ray lost their dad, and she just remembers him very. Fortunately, he was at our wedding. But I mean, like, I love you, like just mess. I'm telling you guys, it's been a beat since I've watched it. But if you have not watched Father of the Bride or Father of the Bride 2 in a while, or maybe it's an older movie, so maybe you haven't seen it at all, but I highly recommend going back and watching it again.
Now you made me want to go back. Was it streaming?
I don't know where Ann popped it on. Okay. I don't know if it was streaming. I'm sure it's available.
Yeah, added both part 1 and part 2 to Disney Plus about a month ago.
Oh, really? So maybe that's where she had it on. So like, if you got Disney Plus, go back, watch it. I just think you're gonna have a really good. It's an stupidly charming movie.
Yes.
Stupidly charming movie. Anyway, speaking of perfectly charming, you bastards, you guys have been sending in some questions, so let's hear what you guys want to talk about here today. Rob, we're going to get started off with.
Let's see what we are going to get. Alfredo Parra says, Rob saying, bruh, over the past year on the John Campea Show has been better marketing for Bros than Bros did for itself. Well, I can't argue with that. You know, the bummer of it is that Bros is actually a very funny movie.
Well, listen, let me jump over for a second. But continue with your thought.
Well, I think that it is. I mean, there was a scene, and I heard this scene. I heard it played on I want to say Film Week before I saw the movie, where there's a subplot where they're trying to build a museum display for like gay and lesbian history, and they're chattering amongst themselves. And the thing that made me laugh out loud was somebody stops and says, well, it's like Schitt's Creek. You look like, and everyone's like, yes. Like they all love it. The whole room stopped. Well, I love Schitt's Creek.
Now I love the movie. Yeah. You know how much I love Schitt's Creek.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. And you're gonna love it. And it was just the timing of it all. The actors are all great. I mean, it's just a very enjoyable film.
This movie has over 137 reviews on Rotten Tomatoes from registered film critics. 90% with over 137, and the audience rating with over 500 verified users. That now verified, remember, on Rotten Tomatoes means Rotten Tomatoes has been able to track that those people actually had a ticket and went to go see the movie. So these are verified user reviews. 91%, 90 and 91%. But yeah, terrible again. Look, when you get a guy who is already a pre-existing fan of Eichner, and that's me, and you play a trailer and it goes, I'm not interested in that at all. It wasn't funny. It didn't make me smile. Then you have blown the marketing. You blew it on the marketing. And I think probably a lot of people are like me and did not go for that very reason. But yeah, you saying bruh. They should have bought some sponsorship on this show just for that. Anyway, okay, let's keep going here. What's next?
Jared Vester says, would love to hear a little bit of your spoilery thoughts on the new House of the Dragon. Aemond and Vhagar was great. Viserys is having a terrible time too.
Again, like we just go back to Viserys. I have never felt worse. I said this on a stream I did at home the other day. They might as well rename House of the Dragon to Life Shits on Viserys. Episode 1. Life Shits on Viserys. Episode. All this guy has done, this entire show, is try to do his duty, try to do what's best for his kingdom, and try to do right by his family. That is all he has ever tried to do. And all he needs are these assholes around him to grow up a little bit. And then in this last episode, you finally start to see him losing his shit. Like, it's like all you people suck. It's just every week it's Viserys trying to do the right thing and everybody else sucking around him. So,
but he's always too late. You know, he's never decisive enough up front. He could have alleviated these things. It's like from the first episode when he didn't send anybody to the Stepstones to go after the crab feeder. He waited, and later Corlys and Daemon went after the crab feeder for 3 years. He could have done that. Even Rhaenyra says,
yes,
hey,
but
you should go.
Was he wrong? Remember, they may never have had to go in the first place if Corlys and Daemon didn't go rushing off saying, we're going to prove our worth.
It's true. No, it's true.
You know,
but
and then, you know, he could have just married the 12-year-old girl. But he's like, nah.
Yeah, no, it's true.
I ain't gonna do that. So, like, at every step of the way, I'm not saying he's been perfect. It's just that, again, the name of the show should just be Life Shits on Viserys. Anyway, all right, what's next?
I do want happiness for him, though.
And all he wants somebody in the live chat, Delusion of Patriotism points out, all he really wants in life is for his brother to stop fucking his daughter. That's it. Is that too much to ask? I'm a simple man. All I want is my brother to stop hooking up with my daughter.
And a lot of good that did him.
Yeah, all right.
It didn't work out.
Nope, not so good.
Leo Milmet says, congrats on meeting Weird Al.
Oh, thank you.
Not surprised he knew of you. You are a master of the craft of film punditry, sir.
Thank you.
Do you know how big of a fan you are? You should collab on a Blood and Honey parody. Laugh out loud.
I would love... I mean, not a parody, but I would love to have Weird Al come in. There it is. Pull up that shot. Yeah, that was Anne was in tears for me because she knows how big of a fan I am of Weird Al. And as we entered the room, this is our second time getting together. The second time when he was signing posters, he was behind this thing and wearing a mask. But the first time you walk in for the quick meet and greet, he looks up, sees me coming, and goes, "John." And I'm like, my knees almost buckled. because you guys know how big of a fan I am of Weird Al. So that was an amazing. But yes, I would love not collab on a piece of music. I would love to have him come in and do a review of Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey.
Oh, that would
just to have him do a review of it.
That would be hilarious.
Amazing. I would love that.
That would be hilarious.
All right, what's next?
Al Renshaw says, have you seen the Mint Mobile ad with Ryan Fitzmagic? I have not.
No. Now, okay, so Fitzmagic is the nickname for Ryan Fitzpatrick, who is a longtime journeyman NFL quarterback. And I'll tell you what, a damn fun quarterback to watch play. And he always got a shit deal. Like he would go somewhere, play real well, but they always had somebody else they wanted as quarterback a little bit more than him. So he shipped somewhere off.
Is that him?
That's him. That's Ryan Fitzpatrick. And then, he'd be a backup quarterback somewhere. The quarterback would go down. He'd step in, win or play really damn well, but then he gets shipped off again, right? And so he finally retired. I think it was last year he retired. But I did not see that they had him in a Mint Mobile ad. I would like to see that.
They're so on point with their ads.
Yeah, Fitzmagic, he played on 9 teams or something like that, and he always played well. I mean, that's the thing. They should do a movie about him. They should really do a movie about Ryan Fitzpatrick. All right, what's next?
Played by Ryan Reynolds himself. Daniel Vercura says, in regards to a major studio with a gay rom-com, people forget about Love, Simon, which opened to 11.8 million and made 66 million overall. I saw absolutely no marketing for Bros with no TV spots.
Yeah, no, nobody forgets about Love, Simon, which was a surprising, if you guys remember me reviewing this, it was a surprisingly good movie. I was really, it was, I believe I said about it at the time when I came out of the theater, I said, it reminds us that wherever we are in life, whatever socioeconomical background, ethnical background, whatever, we all have a human story.
Right. By the way, that ad line, he's done keeping his story straight. That's a great ad line.
It was really good. However, it's not a rom-com.
Right.
Love, Simon is not a rom-com.
Right.
So, I mean, there have been a number of movies with, say, gay themes and stuff like that, and several of them very, very good, and some have done pretty darn well.
Yeah.
But a straight up, pardon the pun, a straight up gay rom-com is not something that a major studio has ever done before.
No.
And so we'll see. It'll be interesting to see where they go next with it. All right, what's next?
Rusty Wadya says, thoughts on Orville season 3 overall? I love that season 3 had that serious drama vibe with light comedy here and there. The time travel episode was a standout for me.
Yeah, I think season 3, at the end of the day, season 3 was the best season they had.
Yeah.
Right from the first episode of the new season, you're like, okay, they've clearly changed it. This is not the same show that it was before. Right. It used to be, I say this joking, and I mean this in the best way possible, but the first season or two, it was just clearly a Star Trek absolute ripoff that got away with ripping off Star Trek directly because it was a spoof comedy. It's a parody, right? Well, that went out the window with season 3. They're just like, nah, we're just a Star Trek show. And they would have the odd joke here and there, and they announced that right out of the gate with that first episode. That was basically one with the theme of suicide.
Hardcore.
Right? Not a belly laughing kind of thing.
No.
And I'll tell you what, I hated the new character. I forget the blonde's name.
Oh, really?
What was her name?
I forget.
It was like a normal sounding.
Yeah, in my mind, she's the new blonde girl.
Let's call her Terry for whatever reason. So I hated that character at first. It's like, oh, of course. So they got to bring the hot blonde pilot. Okay, whatever. But as the season progressed, and especially once you got to her end.
Well, and her story when she finally admitted, I lost my best friend because of
that's when I started to get interested in her as a character a little bit, right? But by the time they get to the end, and ultimately she sacrifices herself to save the Kalon, right? It was that moment that, at the end of Sixth Sense when you realize that Bruce Willis was a ghost all along, and then all of a sudden you look back over the entire rest of the movie and you're like, oh yeah. I had that moment when she sacrifices herself. I thought back over the entire season. I'm like, this all built to this moment. Yeah. And I'm like, yeah, bravo. The way they handled that character.
No, it was well done. And she was great. I really liked her acting.
Terrible finale. I thought the final episode was just a waste of time.
The only thing I liked about it is that Isaac invited the entire
Kalon
race.
That was funny. They're sitting there in the ship. There was a funny moment.
It was funny.
They're in their ship, and all of a sudden this huge fleet of Kayla kebabs. Hello, we're here for a wedding. And then, that was a good moment. But overall, it was.
Yeah, the finale was. I mean, I know that they wanted to keep it light, but I thought that our viewer brought up the time travel episode. That was a really interesting way to look at time travel.
Yeah, and I hate time travel stuff, but the ethical dilemma. And by the way, I'm on team. They made the wrong decision.
Well, yeah, I mean, they had to bring it back. They couldn't leave him there.
They could have.
But I mean,
they could have. Because here's what I was yelling at the TV in my mind was that they were saying like, we don't know the ramifications of the leaving behind, but it's like, but you don't know that there will be any ramifications.
Well, that's true. Behind. It's like the old Star Trek thing. Transparent aluminum won't be invented for a long time. How do we know he didn't invent the thing? And it's like, good point.
I mean, depending on how time worked, and they kept on saying, we just don't understand. Depending on how time worked, maybe you're going to do more damage if you don't leave him behind. I mean, right. So I felt so bad for him.
I felt bad too.
He had his kids are going to be wiped out of existence. It was tough. But I also saw like they were doing what they thought. Anyway, we need to move on. But yeah, stuff. It was a very, very good. It had its real weak moments, including the finale and one or two of the things in the middle. But overall, I thought it was a strong.
I thought
season.
so too.
Yeah. All right, what's next?
John Redcorn says, watch Abbott Elementary and Reboot. Both have likable characters, smart writing, and they're both funny. Take notes, She-Hulk writers. Laugh out loud.
I have not watched Reboot.
It looks every time
it looks very good.
It looks very good. I haven't seen it, but I really do want to see it.
Abbott Elementary.
I watched.
I thought it just looked like a Parks and Rec knockoff, and it is Parks and Rec knockoff.
Yeah, it is.
But Anne is addicted to the show, so I finally sat down and watched like one or two episodes, and I was really impressed. It's a funny show.
Yeah.
There's this scene. One of the teachers, I don't know if you can pull up a picture of the cast of Abbott Elementary or not there too, but there's a scene. One of the characters is like the older, more experienced teacher, right? And she's been there a while. She's been doing a long time. So she's the character that's like both a little more jaded, but a lot more wise and all this kind of stuff, right? But they introduced a quirk of her. There she is. She's the one standing in the top left. And they introduced a quirk that she has, that she always gets celebrity name wrong. And she's like, you know who's a fine young black actor? That Brian Austin Green. And I think she meant Brian Tyree Henry. But she said, that Brian Austin Green. And like everybody else, somebody goes to correct her and the other guy, no, just let it go. Just let it go. And it's just, but like it's filled with charm and personality. And again, that fantastic The Office / Parks and Rec thing. I am committed. I've seen like 2 episodes. I'm totally committed. I'm going to get caught up on this because it's really funny. At least the little bits that I've seen. All right, what's next?
Attack of the Mushi says, I'd love to see Riri and Rhodey interact. Well, I think you probably will at some point.
Yeah, maybe. I am generally not a fan of derivative characters. So I don't know why Flash needs a Kid Flash. I don't know why Iron Man needs an Ironheart. I mean, whatever. And they really haven't given us anything of the character of Riri or anything other than a quick, it's like, oh, another somebody in a heads-up display, autonomous suit. But here's hoping. Here's hoping it'll come. I mean, Ryan Coogler's the one introducing her. So,
I know. And I wonder, I don't know if Don Cheadle's in Wakanda Forever or not.
I doubt he will be. But he's got a busy dance card coming up.
Yes, he does.
With the MCU. Now he's got his own movie.
Yeah, he's got his own movie. He's in Secret Invasion, too.
Yep. All right, what's next?
Daniel Vakura says, it seems with films releasing recently, studios aren't marketing them much, i.e. Bros, See How They Run, and Barbarian to a certain degree. None or very few TV spots aired during NFL games. It's abysmal, not smart.
Here's the problem, though, Daniel. All right. All those films you mentioned are lower budget films.
Yes.
And you are talking about amounts of money. Marketing a film is not cheap.
No.
It's incredibly expensive. And so with these smaller films, you're going to get smaller marketing budgets. So here's the question you need to ask. They probably spent, I'm going to go out on a limb and guess, they probably spent about $15 million on Bros marketing. So, and that includes everything, like the television commercials. Now, some movies will spend up to $80 million for, I'm going to guess for Bros, it probably came around 15 million. So you got to ask yourself, if we spend another 10 million on 3 NFL game commercial spots, are we actually going to make $10 more million at the box office?
Right.
And the answer was probably no. I honestly, when I say I think they botched the marketing, it's not the amount of trailers and whatever was out there. I mean, they were, it's a small movie, so they're going to have a small budget. I just thought the trailer they made should have been a better trailer.
Well, like you said, you didn't think it was funny.
It didn't make me laugh.
I have to say that going back, I think the marketing did not do this movie any favors. You know, and I think probably, I think that there was, look, it's a gay rom-com. You can't say we can't make this movie look too gay in the marketing. Or I'm sure somebody said that. And I'm like, you got to lean into what it was.
So they made the poster.
Yeah.
Have you seen the poster?
Oh, yeah. But
it's like, yeah, really? You don't think we should lean into it? Okay, well here's the
but
poster.
I mean, in the trailers, there was so much funny humor that they didn't use in the trailers.
Right.
With a lot of the supporting cast. And I'm like, they really missed the boat because there's a lot of funny stuff that happens. And it didn't reflect it in the trailer.
Well,
and I think, look, I think more the posters, you know, trailers are the most important marketing for movies, I think.
Yeah, other than the trailer, yeah, absolutely 100% agree.
I mean, the trailers are the most, if the trailers aren't good, you're dead. But I think that poster is not a bad poster.
Here's what I think. It's not a bad DVD poster.
Right.
It's not a bad secondary poster.
Yes.
Once people already know the movie. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
But
The problem with the poster is the pants aren't tight enough.
Jared Vester.
I should just not have the two of you in the same room together. I just don't think I should have the two of you in the same room.
Jared, come on, it's comedy gold to be mined here. Jared Vester says, if I were in charge of the Jurassic IP, I would either reboot the franchise with the original Jurassic Park, smaller confined budget, or continue with the Jurassic World universe and make spin-offs like a dinosaur Jaws.
Here's the thing. Jurassic Shark. Is that an asylum movie?
Yes.
Of course it is. Attack of the Jurassic Shark. Look, honestly,
I love the girl jumping off the boat.
I don't believe there is a right answer here. I really don't. I think it is played out. I think it's done. There's nowhere else to go with this thing. It's like, because if we now say that, okay, it's a normal thing now. The dinosaurs are part of our world. Well, then there's nothing special about an isolated situation. Hey, somewhere in Portugal, there's a wild brontosaurus who is now eating people, even though it's a vegetarian. Like, I think it's just time to call it. You made so many billion, but you said it, Rob. This movie, the last movie, made $1 billion.
It made $1 billion.
So they're not going to turn away from that.
No.
I just don't know that there's anywhere to go with it, really.
I would tend to agree. I mean, look, I do it. Like I said, do a time jump and the world has fallen to something. But even then
it's just Planet of the Apes.
Yeah, it's Planet of the Apes with dinosaurs, and that's and they don't talk. The apes talk.
Okay.
You know, the apes are, but dinosaurs you can't do.
Oh, they should have telepathy. That's it. The dinosaurs should have telepathy.
Develop telepathy. It's like AI dinosaurs. They can now. They're the death of us.
All right, let's do one more and then we'll take a break. All right, what's next?
Ryan Hughes says episode 6 was by far the best episode of Rings of Power.
Absolutely.
My big issue is that I still find Rings of Power is far too reliant on our knowledge of what will be, as opposed to what's actually happened so far. I don't disagree with that.
I don't disagree with it either, but it's a fairly safe assumption. Right? When you're talking about, listen, if you're interested in watching Rings of Power, chances are you've seen Lord of the Rings.
Yes.
So I think there's a safe one there. I mean, like even House of the Dragon has done that to a degree. Like, listen right now, I have a terrible secret to tell you. They call it the Song of Ice and Fire. It's the one will come. There must be a Targaryen on the throne. And it's like, we know, because of what happens with the Night King. So even they do that, and you're absolutely right. Like that last scene. The more I went back and watched it again, I liked it a lot more. Even the second time I saw it, with the creation of Mount Doom and all that kind of stuff. It absolutely does rely on us having some previous knowledge, but this is isn't one of those kind of safer bets. Like I think with Beverly Hills Cop, I don't know that you can do that as much with the new Beverly Hills Cop, because I think you are trying to bring in a whole new audience into that and stuff like. But Rings of Power, I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I mean, it's really interesting. Like I told you, I watched 2 hours of Fellowship of the Ring last night. I love when Gandalf goes to Saruman for help. Like I'm going to and Saruman in that conversation, what brings you here, Gandalf? And then they're talking, and here's the Palantir.
The hour is late.
You don't use
Gandalf the Grey.
Ride size and God. But then when you find out that Saruman is, we're going to join with him, and they have that fight. That was interesting to me because, okay, why did he make that choice? And I feel that the one thing that I'm missing from in Rings of Power is it seems like now that everyone knows, there's evil afoot, that all these people are just going to team up and be like, where's the intrigue, like the court intrigue? And even in when they go the Council of Elrond, when bring forth the ring, Frodo, and you see Boromir is like, well, we can use the weapon of the enemy and make it work for us. No, you can't do that. And Gimli tries to destroy the ring with his axe, and all these things. I feel like we don't know enough about all these people that are in Middle Earth. They all kind of are on the same page. Like, we're the people that decide, other than we did see the men that like, no, we'll come, we're leaving, we'll team up with you, and they basically all got slaughtered. But where's the infighting? Where's the character intrigue with everybody?
Oh, I'm going to disagree with you on that completely, because they've already set up in this show like a whole ton of thing about the basic aside from Durin and Elrond, the basic mistrust between like Elrond's king and Durin's father, the basic mistrust of elves and them. You still have like a whole segment of the elves don't even believe that the orcs are still there.
It's true, but now
I think a lot of it has been.
But now everyone's got the evidence. Like Mount Doom is
now they do.
But they're supposed to go for 4 more years.
Okay, yeah, but you're making a lot of assumptions about what.
True.
Like they've only got to this point now. Okay, now they've established the orcs are there. Okay. Now what happens? And I think that just like the revelation of the Mithril, I think the revelation of the orcs now being in there, like, okay, now what do we do about that? It's going to become a very, very big thing
absolutely.
about that.
I just think that in Rings, if you contrast that with House of the Dragon, every character has many different levels to where they are at, what they're feeling, and what they're going to do. And I feel that it's that character interplay. You're always wondering, like, when they put two people together, I'm like, how are they going to talk to one another? What's going to happen? I just feel that the characters could be much more, far better drawn out than they are.
Well, also, I think there's a lot of, unlike House of the Dragon, which right from the get-go, everybody's in the same room. Like right from episode 1, right?
That's true.
That is true. In Rings of Power so far, we just in episode 6 got our first kind of crossover of two of the stories with Arendir and Galadriel.
Right.
And it's like, these two separate storylines have come together the first time.
Yeah.
So once we start getting the Harfeet and we get Durin and like all that, so that's when I think it starts to bubble.
That's why I'm so curious about episode 7 and 8.
You say curious, I say anxiety, because I don't think it's an exaggeration to say they need to make 7 and 8 really good.
Yes.
They cannot revert back to the pacing and the problems they had with episodes 1 and 2. They've got to be able to, like, 6 was a win. 6 was a big win, but you got to follow it up now.
I agree.
And they got to follow up strong. All right, sorry. All right, guys, here's what we're going to do for a second. We're going to take just a minute here. I'm going to refill my drink, stretch my legs for a second, give you guys a chance to talk amongst yourselves. And in the meantime, we're going to take the opportunity to thank the sponsor of today's episode, our friends at Amazon Pharmacy. Guys, we want to take a second to thank a sponsor of today's video, Amazon Pharmacy. I don't know about you, but when I need to go to the drugstore, I always seem to wait till the last minute, hoping that they'll be open, or I get stuck in a line, or both. And that's why I love Amazon Pharmacy. Yes, that Amazon. Amazon Pharmacy delivers a better pharmacy experience that delivers directly to your door and works with most insurance plans. Amazon Pharmacy helps you save time, save money, and stay healthy. They have transparent pricing, so You know what you'll pay before you pay it. That is clutch. As an added bonus, Prime members can save up to 80% on their prescriptions. And like I mentioned earlier, Amazon Pharmacy works with most insurance plans. And if you ever have any questions or problems, real pharmacists are always available at Amazon Pharmacy, no matter the time of day or night. A pharmacy that works for your life, with meds delivered to your door. It doesn't get any better than that. Switch to Amazon Pharmacy and save time, save money, and stay healthy. Learn more at amazon.com/Campea. That's amazon.com/Campea. Average savings based on usage and Inside RX data as compared to cash prices. Average savings for all generics are 78%, 37% for select brand medications. Restrictions apply. And thank you to our friends at the Amazon Pharmacy for sponsoring this episode of Open Mic. All right, guys, let's get back to it, shall we? Rob, what is next?
What is next? Adrenaline Knight sends in a $20 super chat.
Thank you, Adrenaline.
Okay, John. The subject always comes up about making certain groups look bad in movies. I'm here for the real victim of this. Us six-finger people. Always the bad guy.
I just noticed you have 6 fingers on your left hand. I know somebody who's looking for you. One of the great, of course, yes, that's right. Yep. Every single movie that I've ever seen with a 6-fingered man, they have been the bad guy. Of course, I've only ever seen one movie with the 6-fingered man as the bad guy. So I've only ever seen that once in a movie.
I would like to have 6 fingers, to be honest.
I'm not even going to ask why.
Oh, actually, to be honest, I was thinking about model building.
Oh, yeah.
Honestly, because I was...
And typing.
Yeah, I was working on a model last night, and I'm like, my fingers, I have small hands, and I wish I had more. Another finger would have helped me, because I actually stabbed this finger with an X-Acto knife by accident. And it was bleeding for a half an hour.
Now I want to go watch Princess Bride again.
There you go.
And please be honest. It is for science. Prosperity. All right. What's next?
Leo Milmot says, if asked, would you breakdance in a Weird Al video?
Oh, shit. That's a really good question. No.
Come on.
No, probably wouldn't. It's just way too embarrassing. I would never live it down.
But it's in a Weird Al video. It couldn't be embarrassing.
I mean, no. I mean, if Weird Al wanted to pay me $5 million to breakdance in his video, then I will probably do that.
Wow.
Yeah, but no, probably not.
That's very disappointing.
Probably not. All right, what's next?
Shay says, I'm really concerned about the backlash with LGBT representation in Marvel. Do you think the casting of drag queen Shay Cooley and Ironheart will have a huge negative effect?
I don't even know anything about it.
Is that Shay Cooley?
That's Shay Cooley.
Cooley.
Never heard of them. No idea.
All I know is that is a cool look. I mean, it depends. I don't think you can cast anybody. I mean, look at Shay is obviously somebody who's cultivated a great sense of style. The question is Shay going to play herself, or is she going to play someone else?
I have no idea. I'd have to see it. Look,
that's a cool looking. She's got a cool look. I mean, do we know what she's doing?
I have no clue.
I don't know either.
Yeah, I don't know, but I mean, who cares?
Yeah. Wow.
Look, it comes down to this. It's going to be a movie. Is the character in the movie a cool character that does and says cool things and it works for the movie, or it doesn't? Look, I just wish there would be a lot of ball cuddling cowards out there who would just acknowledge what they are. They're just bigot assholes who just don't think that certain people have the right to be acknowledged that they exist. It's just that simple. Like, when I see these fucking knuckle draggers who are just like I don't care if we're talking about ethnically diverse characters, sexual orientation characters. I don't care. When you see people, just by the nature of them putting people in a movie, and then they go, "Why are they shoving that down my throat?" It's like, oh, so just call what it is. You just don't want to give the right and acknowledge that people have the right to exist. You just want to acknowledge that these people exist because you're a racist, bigot, fucking loser asshole. Just admit it. I mean, just embrace it and own it. So I don't give 2 squirts of piss what some cousin humping, basement dwelling, jack off loser thinks about somebody getting cast in a movie. I could care less whether they take another breath. I don't give a shit. Nobody should give a shit what they think. And listen, if a movie's good, it ain't going to be because they got somebody from a different walk of life in it. And if it's bad, it's not going to be because they got somebody from different. The characters are going to be good or it's not. The movie's going to be good or it's not. And just acknowledging that, letting other people have opportunities to be in these things. And if you're not down with that, fuck off. Just fuck right off. I got no fucking time for you. Anyway, am I being ambiguous? Am I being ambiguous? All right.
No, but I would say I would cast Shea Coulee in the pictures, Taylor, just as either like some kind of an assassin, because she looks great. I mean, kick your ass.
Wait a minute. Let me burn on this just for another second, right? I just wish people would, like, when they cast a character who is a female or black or Asian or whatever, something, and say, well, they threw away good storytelling so they could put in diversity. Fuck nut. If it was a white person in the role, it'd be the same fucking character. It would be the same lines of dialogue. It would be the same story. Nobody sacrificed anything for the sake of diversity. But these people are so fucking stupid. They just like throwing out their verbiage that they have. They have this, like, these people have their own collection of verbiage and they're master straw man, like they're master at throwing out straw man arguments, but they have their own set of verbiage that they just keep falling into. Woke, diversity, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, do you realize how fucking ignorant and stupid you look? It's just insane. And then they throw out these straw man arguments. Like, for instance, there was an actress in Obi-Wan, right? Not a good character. I didn't like Obi-Wan. But aside from that, this actress and they showed them, this actress was on the receiving end of the most vile, cancerous vitriol thrown at her on social media. Most of it race-based, right? Race and gender-based. So some people come out and Lucasfilm say, hey, yo, guys, like, people, like, back off of this. And then what these straw man people do online, they go, well, Lucasfilm is saying if you don't like Obi-Wan, then you're a racist. Fucktard. That is not what they said. They did not say, but that's what these people do. They're straw man arguers. That the moment comes out, if somebody calls out the racism or the bigotry or the misogyny, as soon as somebody calls it out, these straw men, snake oil salesmen, get online and go, oh, well, the such and such director is saying if you don't like their movie, it's just because you hate women. No, that's not what they said. But that will be your pathetic little crybaby battle cry. It's so infuriating, and it really bothers me as somebody who's been a fan of this, of the fan space for as long, to see the type of cancer that is in it these days. It's just unbelievable. Anyway, so I got frustrated about that. And anyway, let's just move on now. All right.
Wow, that was pretty
up
epic.
her role. It's a mystery role. It says that Entertainment Weekly confirmed RuPaul's Drag Race All Stars Season 7 finalist has boarded Disney Plus's Ironheart. They don't know who she's playing, but they did bring up that in the Iceman comic a few years ago, there was a drag character, and it was based on her. So, well, loosely based on her among other drag queens. So I'm wondering.
So she actually inspired a character that was in a Marvel comic, and now she might get to come back.
They might be bringing that comic. That's speculation.
Yeah, that's right. But that's cool.
Yeah, I remember that. That was like 4 years ago, 5 years ago. I remember seeing that in the Iceman comic. That was pretty cool.
All right, what's next?
Culture Wars Diplomacy said anybody having personal knowledge that watching a movie or a TV show they knew cops or lawyers should have known that instead of figuring it all out. Hang on a second. Let me read this again.
Try that again. Yeah.
Anybody have personal knowledge that watching a movie or a TV show, they knew cops and lawyers should have known that instead of figuring it out? I guess they're asking that a cop or a lawyer should have known something regarding the plot rather than figure it out. I don't really quite know.
Yeah, I'm not following that myself.
Yeah.
If you guys in the live chat understood it, go ahead and discuss that.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure what you're asking. I think what they're asking is, shouldn't a cop or a lawyer know this already?
Maybe.
Like, why? And I have seen films where I'm like, you would know this, and I'm like, why do we have to make it a revelatory thing later? You should know already.
All right. What's next?
Mike's Movie Madness says, currently taking an editing class, good man, as part of my film program. And I got to say, mad respect for pro editors now. I can't imagine getting a 3 or 4 hour assembly cut and trimming that down to 90 or 120 minutes. Oh, you learn. You'll learn.
Yeah, look, and imagine when it's something like I know a lot of editors, and like I've known some of them work with some of the big YouTube channels, like React channels. And Jonathan worked for the React channels, the Fine Brothers, for a long time. I know others work on feature films. A lot of times they're handed like 4 hours of footage that needs to be broke down into a 15-minute segment. Sometimes, what about the Top Gun editors?
Oh, dude.
They had 800 hours. 800 hours that had to be pared down into a 2+ hour movie.
Well, in Lord of the Rings, you know when Arwen has Frodo after he's been stabbed on Weathertop and she's riding to get to Rivendell? They had hours of footage of just horses running. That's it. And they had to go through all of it to pare it down into that scene that lasts maybe 20 seconds, 30 seconds when she's being chased.
It's crazy.
It's tough.
All right, what's next?
Motassim says, are you worried about Daredevil getting toned down or ruined in his upcoming series? I'm scared it'll be like going from Logan to X-Men Origins Wolverine.
Look, there's just something you just got to accept now. This is not the Daredevil from the Netflix series. I mean, Marvel hasn't come out and absolutely 100% confirmed that. But when you look at everything that Charlie Cox has said and all this kind of stuff, it's kind of clear this is a new character. This is not season 4. This is season 1. This is a new thing. This is a new character. We don't know what this character is like yet. Is this going to be an R-rated show? It's not. So just accept that right now. It's not going to be an R-rated show. So there's one big difference right away. But that doesn't mean that this character could not be even better. I'm not saying it will be clear. I'm not saying it will be. But I mean, we've got to go in with the understanding that this is going to be a bit different, and it might be even better than the original show. Maybe it won't be quite as good. Maybe it'll be a lot worse. Maybe it'll be a lot better. We don't know. But you just have to accept that if you just go in wanting to see how it measures up, and you're going to judge it based on how close is it to the one from Netflix, you might be setting yourself up for disappointment, and you might be robbing yourself of a great viewing experience otherwise. So I have no idea if the show's going to be any good or not. Marvel shows for me have been hit and miss. You know, Ms. Marvel, WandaVision, outstanding. Loki, okay. Falcon Winter Soldier, okay. Hawkeye, not so good. She-Hulk, I don't like. So it's very hit and miss. So we'll see. Where's your expectation level for Daredevil right now?
Well, I like the Born Again storyline. I mean, I think it could be great, but again, I don't think they can lean heavily into the violence like they did in the original Daredevil, because, like you said, it's going to be a PG-13 PG show,
and I'm sure they'll go heavy into the action.
Absolutely, but I don't think that means it's going to be bad.
No, I agree.
You know, I think if it's a well-written Daredevil show, great, bring it on. I think we'd probably see more characters like Typhoid Mary and more of those. But if you go with the Born Again storyline, there's a lot of interesting other characters. I mean, Kingpin, obviously, but there's other. Captain America was in that, too.
All right. What's next?
Matouine says AMC, where the show times are actually the recommended time you leave the house.
So damn right. And you know what's really frustrating? They keep you on your toes because they tell you 7 o'clock, and normally that means 7:30, 7:31, 7:32. But if you try to count on that, Ann and I got to the theater at maybe 10. We had a movie time for that was like 7 o'clock. We got to the movie theater about 10 after 7, then stood in the concession line for about 10 to 15 minutes because Ann ordered something not common on the menu. So it took a few minutes to get it ready. So at 7:18, we walked into the theater and the movie had started. We were about 2 or 3 minutes into the movie. And it's like, you inconsiderate bastards, you could, if you're going to be assholes by saying the movie starts at 7 but really starts at 7:30, you could at least be consistent about it.
Right.
And that's infuriating. It's one of the things that gets me going too about the movie theaters today. It's like, listen, you need now more than ever to make the movie going experience as easy and as pleasant for people and as positive for people as possible. Starting a movie 30 minutes after you tell them it's going to start and then not even being consistent with it is not a good way to create a good experience for people going to the movies.
I agree.
Anyway, all right. What's next?
Sadu says, saw The Descent. Oh, and being claustrophobic, it was very effective. Do you think The Last of Us Season 1 will be the first game story, or will that be over multiple seasons?
Oh, I think Season 1 will be Game 1. I think Season 2 will be Last of Us 2. And then if they get a third season, who knows where they can go. Again, right. I'm just guessing. But my God, The Descent. Oh, dude, that movie, you talking about the claustrophobia in it. That movie scared the living. I mean, it is my second favorite horror movie of all time. That movie had my butt cheeks clenched so hard, and that was even before the monsters ever show up.
Right, I know.
Like, just the claustrophobia of that movie is like disturbing.
Gee, you like a movie that's all girls? Is that what you're saying?
Oh,
no, I think The Descent is, first of all, the female cast in that movie is great. I'm just kidding about the,
Yeah.
I think The Descent, that was Neil Marshall's second movie after Dog Soldiers.
Right.
And no one uses claustrophobia better than he does in that film.
So good.
So good. If you guys haven't seen The Descent, it's October. Watch it.
Yeah, it is my. It won't be everybody's. I probably like it more than most people, but to me, it's my second favorite.
It's really good. And watch it when it's dark. Wherever watch it in the dark.
All right, what's next?
Daniel Vakura says She-Hulk structurally has issues where episode 1 was supposed to be episode 8 with the origin. Not great as the second to last episode. The Daredevil episode was supposed to be 6 from D23. It shows a lack of a solid plan to me.
At the end of the day, that doesn't matter. It honestly didn't matter. This is not a House of the Dragon narrative-heavy show.
Right.
It was meant to be a light, fun, half-hour situational comedy that was going to be light and whatever. And the order, none of that matters. None of it matters. None of it matters. If this show was making us laugh, nobody would be talking about any of the issues. I mean, well, there'd be some people because they just don't want a female-led show. But 99% of people, we wouldn't be talking about any of the issues. Nobody would be talking about, well, they moved this thing around and, they didn't follow up on this one little story thread. None of us would be talking about it if the show did its core responsibility, which was make us laugh. And for those of you who are watching the show and are enjoying it, and it is making you laugh, awesome. I celebrate. I'm not saying you shouldn't. That's great. I'm jealous of you, actually. I wish this show made me laugh. I really do. I wanted to love this show.
I did too.
But at the end of the day, instead of going, haha, I'm going, ugh, at most of the jokes. And it's like, it makes it an unpleasant viewing experience.
I'm also disappointed. It's called She-Hulk Attorney at Law, and I wanted to see a lot more at the law firm. I liked all the characters at the law firm. I wanted to see them explore the Marvel universe through the legal system. And I feel I've got so little of that. I mean, we got one episode, you could see where it could have gone. It could have been really interesting, but instead they seem to want to get away from that premise every episode.
See, like if they had followed the Ally McBeal, Boston Public or Boston Legal kind of said where every week there is a case and that the theme of the case becomes reflective of an issue in the life of the main character.
Yes.
If they had done that, it still wouldn't have mattered because their writers do not know how to write something that's funny. So even if they did that, it still wouldn't have worked.
I agree.
And I could have taken Man Bull if it was funny,
right?
But it's not funny. So I don't know. That's the problem for it. And I thought the show started strong. Listen,
I did too. I loved the first episode.
There was criticism about moving that Bruce episode to the first one. I think that was 100% the right move because it was the type of start the show needed. And I loved the first episode. So I was right on board with She-Hulk at first, but its lack of funny eventually caught up.
Yeah.
And hey, listen, if you're not trying to be a comedy, that's fine. But if you're supposed to be a comedy and you're not funny, bad things happen.
It's not good.
All right, what's next?
Mike's Movie Madness says, and that's not even including doing the color grading or VFX, which that in itself is daunting. He's talking about editorial.
Well, I mean, listen, there's a reason why, for small, low budget, a lot of YouTube stuff, your editor will also do a lot of your motion graphics. Your editor will also do your color correction.
Oh, yeah.
But when you get into the real workflow, people like that, editors don't do color grading. Like they literally will have colorists. Like I know you've worked on projects.
Yeah, I mean, I
and it's one thing, but you got to hire an entirely different person just to do the color.
Well, because there's a science to it.
Yeah.
You know, you have to have a skill. And While like on Tango Shalom, I did a color grade so we could show it to people. Because when you shoot digitally, when you shoot on the red, you need to grade it with something. But yeah, the people who know color, I love old school color graders that have been working for years. Because man, they know stuff that is invaluable. So yeah, that's true.
Yeah, the work of it is really true. The story is made in the edit. That the edit is everything.
It is.
It's crazy. Again, look just from a very, very surface level, just look at the Obi-Wan fan cut that one guy did. Just a different edit turned Obi-Wan for me from a disappointing show, not the worst, it wasn't completely horrible, but a disappointing show into quite an enjoyable movie.
Yeah.
And it was all from the edit.
I agree.
I highly recommend. A lot of people ask me, "Hey, John, if I wanted to be a director, what should I do?" The first thing I tell them is learn editing.
Yep.
Become
100%.
an editor.
100%.
You will get a better understanding of storytelling if you get right into the edit. Anyway, so there's that.
Totally
That's
agree.
why you're an editor.
That's why I love editing.
All right, what's next?
Look, there's Tango Shalom right there.
There it is.
And who was the voice of Moses?
That would be me.
Yeah, there we go.
I got to say, though, I think the color grade's a little bad there. That looks a little too red. A little too red. Bad color grade.
That was actually a black and white photograph.
Really? Colorized. All right.
Yeah. The small Lebowski says,
like that.
unfortunately, seeing Amsterdam, I pray I like it. That opens this week, John.
Yeah, Anne and I are going to the premiere of the new Weird Al film with Daniel Radcliffe on Thursday, which is the first screening nights of Amsterdam. So Anne was like, "Oh no, I was going to get us tickets for that, but it's the same night as the Weird Al movie." And I'm like, I don't know if I'm all that excited to see it now because I've heard from so many people. Like Christian was in here the other day and he was saying like,
Yeah,
not good. So I have this thing where when there's a movie I'm really excited about seeing and then I hear bad things about it, I just don't go see because I don't want to be disappointed.
I'm the same way, and it kills me. And then it just kills and Elizabeth's like, why do you listen to what other people say? I'm like, I don't listen to what everybody says.
Right.
But there's a few people that I know that my taste is simpatico with theirs. So if they don't like something, I'm like, oh.
Yeah, I mean, I have been so excited for this movie that I am probably going to see it anyway. But yeah, I've not been hearing great things.
No,
All right, what's next?
Great cast, though. Tim Platt says, favorite Seinfeld episode? For me, it's The Marine Biologist. Has one of the greatest punchlines to a joke in sitcom history.
If you're talking about when he drives, so when he's doing a driving range thing into the ocean and gets stuck in the blowhole of a whale, whatever. I'm pretty traditional in the sense that it comes down to either Master of Your Domain. That one I just find freaking hilarious. The one where Elaine's or I was in the pool, that whole episode is really good. Yeah, so just a couple of them. You have never watched Seinfeld.
I have never watched a full episode of Seinfeld. I could not tell you.
You know what's funny? Anne has never watched Seinfeld either, and she had never seen any of Seinfeld's comedy, and she got us tickets to go see Seinfeld last week. And she was in tears the whole time. She goes, I think he might be my favorite comedian now. He was on fire.
Oh, well,
he has not lost it.
I like his comedy.
Oh, he's
I've
great.
I like
I've
Jerry
seen good
Seinfeld.
comedy of him, and I've seen bad comedy of him, but he was on fire the night we went to go see him. Yeah, B-movie is not one of his finer moments.
No. Not good. Sadhu says, I know Aaron Sorkin is known for great dialogue. I love The Social Network and Steve Jobs. What movies for you have the best dialogue? Oh, I can answer that.
What's that?
Well, there's two that come to mind. One is All About Eve, Best Picture 1950. Two is Sweet Smell of Success. Yeah, I mean, Sweet Smell of Success, Burt Lancaster and Tony Curtis. Tony Curtis is a publicist in New York. And he's trying to curry favor with a writer in the newspaper who can make and break careers in the theater. You're a cookie full of arsenic. I mean, the writing is so great. I mean, these are classics. These are classic movies. You know, I mean, I think that there was movies, if you look at movies in the 40s and 50s, they're totally different because they didn't have the cinematic tools they have now. So they couldn't move the cameras the way we move the cameras now. So a lot of it was through the writing. They were much more literary. And you had a lot of incredible playwrights. I mean, it's a very different it's a different way of watching movies, and it's not the way people talk. Dialogue's much more naturalistic now.
I would say this is going to be two very opposite things. I love Kevin Smith's dialogue. Kevin Smith's dialogue is so quick and sharp and witty, and I love Kevin Smith's dialogue. Completely different from that, I think my favorite dialogue in a movie is The King's Speech, which I believe won Best Picture that year. Directed by Tom Hooper, who is actually also the director of Cats. But that movie has like these elongated scenes where it's just two men sitting in chairs facing each other and talking for like 15-minute scenes. And I'm riveted every moment of it, right? So, yeah, good dialogue is everything to me.
You know what else has good dialogue? Is Glenn Ross.
Oh, yeah, it does.
You know, I mean, that's got some killer.
That's one of the most quotable movies.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that is,
yeah, when you have some, because again, like people like David Mamet, they're playwrights. So when you watch a David Mamet script, it sings.
All right, what's next?
Shay says, have you heard anything about Black Adam pre-sales? I went to buy tickets and all the theaters were close to empty. Wakanda Forever, not so much.
Black Panther or Black Adam, I should say, didn't really do much of a job letting people know the tickets were now on sale.
Right.
Like I found out because I got a notification in my AMC A list that Anne had booked us tickets. I didn't even know that the tickets had been available yet. She had heard somewhere. Whereas Black Panther, drop a trailer, tickets available now.
Yeah.
And it's like, so that as Marvel often does. So first of all, we should not at all expect that Black Adam is going to do the types of sales that Wakanda Forever is.
No.
Of course it's not, but that's fine. But again, one did a great job letting people know tickets were now on sale and one did not. So one has had great trailers, the other has not. So,
right. And
I got my tickets. I got my tickets for both. I got my Wakanda Forever tickets. I got my Black Adam tickets. All right, what's next?
Raymond Reddington says, when was the last time you went to the movies, John?
Would be a couple days ago. Ann and I shot over to the theaters to go see Don't Worry, Darling. So yeah, it was probably just a few days ago.
Me too. It was weekend.
Was it? Yeah.
That's why I saw Bros.
All right, what's next?
Bros. Bruh. James Wheeler says, due to the long life of Numenorians, what chances would you give that this season of Rings of Power takes place 200 years before the last alliance?
That's
a hell of a time jump.
Yeah, but I don't know that Numenorians. I'm a little unclear, to be honest with you, about they have longer life. I'm not sure how much longer though. Like I'm not real clear on that. So maybe. I mean, because really, when you look at the human characters, the straight up human characters, the non-Numenorian human characters, I haven't really come across anybody that we're supposed to be able to expect to see by the time the War of the Rings happens.
Right.
Right. With the exception of Halbrand, who I think is going to become the Witch King, but by that point he's kind of immortal anyway.
Well, but Isildur is who cuts the ring off the.
Right, but he's Numenorian.
He is Numenorian.
So how much longer do they say? I'm a little unclear on that. To me.
And Isildur's father.
Yep. He's in the same battle.
They're in the same battle. So
unless it's another Isildur, but I don't think they're doing that.
Yeah, I don't think they're doing that either.
All right, what's next?
Alex von Gollum says, theory, Halbrand is Sauron. His plan was to have Numenor Galadriel go to the Highlands, so the Queen Regent and the soldiers were wiped out with the eruption, making it easier to conquer Middle-earth.
That would be very, very bad plan because they got lucky.
Yeah.
The orcs got lucky, right? At the last moment, Adar comes up with this plan and tells his human lackey, here, take this. Had he not done that, which is clearly not something Sauron could have planned for, then they get captured, they get the sword hilt, or if Arendir? No, what's the name? The elf. Is it Arendir?
Yeah,
Anyway.
Elendil, or I'm sorry. Yeah,
If he had just taken a second to, after they took the blade from Adar, if he had just had thought, well, maybe I should open this up. And he said, oh, wait, hey, it's not here. We should probably try to figure out where this thing is.
Right.
I mean, so it would have been a very bad plan. Like, this was one where Adar and the orcs just got ass lucky.
Right.
They just got ass lucky. So that's kind of my take on it anyway. All right, what's next?
That should be the slogan for bros. Ass lucky.
Ass lucky. They couldn't have done any worse.
Rob McDonald says, for the Batman 2, Batman must face his most fearsome foes yet. Kite Man and Condiment King. Can Batman cut the mustard? Or will he blow it? Wow. That's a good one, though.
By the way, these are two characters that work very good in Harley Quinn.
Right.
They would never work in a live action thing, but they work. They're two of my favorites in Harley Quinn. All right, what's next?
Fry Minis says, had to miss the live show today, so I'm always happy to watch the video on demand later. Will you ever do a show with everyone dressed as D&D characters? Please?
Why would you even ask that? Why?
Halloween is coming, John. Halloween is coming.
No, the answer to the question is no, and I'm not even sure what brought up the question, to be honest with you.
Which D&D characters would we dress up as? Like a thief?
Well, you make up your own D&D character.
Yeah, that's the thing. So we could be anybody.
You could be anything, any brother.
Who's to say we're not right now?
My wife's character is a halfling assassin.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, she just sneaks around and kills people from behind. That's all she does. Just a lot of murder. Stab in the back.
As long as it works.
All right, what's next?
John Redcorn says, more likely a Spidey appearance in Madam Web or Venom 3.
I'm gonna say Madam Web. I mean, okay, so that is dependent on. We have heard whispers about what the basic story of that movie is,
right?
Which may be right or wrong. Like, we may not be getting the right information, but the information we are hearing is that a certain storyline that they're having with that, and that storyline really does lend itself to Spider-Man making an appearance in a very non-destructive way. So it offers the opportunity for a Spider-Man character to be there and instantly be gone again and not have it negatively affect anything.
I think you're probably right.
So while I think there is a chance that Spider-Man shows up in a Venom 3, I think the greater chance would probably be Madam Web. What do you think?
I think so too. And they haven't quite even, is Venom 3 even officially been announced?
No.
So yeah, Madam Web probably.
Yeah. I mean, there's going to be a Venom 3.
Yeah, there will be a Venom 3, but I'm going to have to go with Madam Web just like you.
All right, what's next?
All right, so that's all that shows up in our activity feed, but I found some that did not load, so I can go ahead and read those for you guys.
Wonderful.
From Tim Platt. When you were talking about Hot D on today's show, all of a sudden I started thinking about a certain song from the South Park movie, #Shut Your Effing Face.
The only one I can think of that you're talking about is the Wiener song, but that's it.
It's the one about the Uncle Effer.
Yeah, Uncle Effer.
with Terrence and Phillip.
Yeah.
I don't remember it.
Shut your fucking face, Uncle Fucker. You know.
I don't. Oh, well, because of the nature.
Yeah.
I am not familiar with this. I don't remember the song.
Uncle in the Streets.
I'll have to look it up and see for myself. All right, what's next?
All right, from Sam Fisher, we have a 3-parter. Part 1, idea for Wonder Man. You can cast Nathan Fillion and have Simon Williams be an aging action star who can no longer play action hero. To counteract this, Part 2, he gains powers, but instead of getting him more roles, it makes him a pariah. It would be the reverse story of She-Hulk. Instead of an accidental, Part 3, powers, accidentally making someone famous. Purposeful powers make a falling star harder and faster.
I don't know.
I mean, I understand where they're going with that.
Yeah.
It could be a good story. I hope that Wonder Man doesn't lean too heavily into that. You know.
Yeah, I don't think they will. And
look at those Wonder Men.
I would love to see Nathan Fillion in this role.
I would too. he might be a little old.
All right, what's next?
Great though.
All right, let's see. From Big Cookie, referring to Waldron writing Secret Wars, I believe he was also tapped to write Kevin Feige's Star Wars movie.
Yes, he was.
Yep.
Why do you think Feige trusts him so much?
Listen, what a lot of people, one of the biggest fallacies of belief amongst a lot of film fans is the belief that making movies is easy. I mean, it is. It's just like they think writing a good script is easy. And what I mentioned on the show the other day, look, would Michael Waldron have been my top pick? No. But when you look at Loki, and by the way, a lot of people love Loki.
Yeah.
I don't personally love Loki, but a lot of people love that show. But when you look at what is going on in Loki, and you look at the concept of what is going on in Doctor Strange, that ain't an easy story to write. That is not an easy thing to write. Now, was I thrilled with Loki season 1? No. Was I thrilled with Doctor Strange 2? No. But do I think, man, it must just be that the person who wrote it didn't know how to write? Here's my guess, and this is just a guess. Take it for what it is. I think Kevin Feige looks at the job that Michael Waldron did and said, you know what? I don't know that anybody else under my umbrella could have done better.
Right.
And, and said, then you know what? If you could take a story like a Star Wars story that isn't going to be as brutally convoluted as a Multiverse of Madness kind of story and make it like with the same sharpness, that could be great. So that's my guess at any rate. But again, I'm just guessing.
Well, no, I think you're right. I mean, I have to say that, I've said I've read the Secret Invasion scripts.
Right.
They're really well written. And you read them and you're like, wow, a lot of the time, the translation to whatever you finally see, it's a long process. So sometimes the writing can be a lot better than it comes off in the finished project. So you don't know. Michael Waldron's scripts might be great.
I mean, I go back to this one a lot, actually. The Sam Worthington Clash of the Titans, right? Sam Worthington, Liam Neeson, right? Bad movie. Universally understood as a bad movie. But, like, a year before that movie came out, like a full year, me and a few other online journalists got our hands on the script. And the script was great.
Yeah.
Like, we all agreed. Like, when we read the script, we're like, oh my God, this script is really good. But that layer of translation, the director, between the page and the screen, and when we're watching the movie, we're like, yeah, this is that script. But it's being done in a way that it's so it could very well be, like, I love your point. It could very well be that the scripts for Loki and the script for Doctor Strange and Multiverse of Madness may have been incredible and just didn't end up the way it was kind of pictured. I mean,
there's a million different decisions that are made each and every day on a film set.
Yes.
By a bunch of different people. And then the director's trying to filter everything to make it all work. And all of those decisions cumulatively, sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. I mean, I remember there's a director named Gregory Hoblit who came from TV. He directed Primal Fear with Ed Norton and Richard Gere. But then he did a movie, I want to say it's called Fallen with Denzel Washington. It was like, and I thought,
that was like a supernatural killer movie.
Yeah, and I loved Primal Fear. I call it Primal Gear. But Fallen, I just didn't like at all. I thought the direction, what he did with the story, I didn't like it. I didn't like the way he moved the camera and stuff, and it really put me off. So I couldn't tell you if Fallen had a great script or not.
Yeah. All right, what's next?
All right, well, this next question comes to us from Casey Mack, and it is right up my alley. I know you're not into Chucky, but if you get a chance to look up We Come Here for Horror, because not only did SNL make a spoof of Nicole Kidman AMC spot, but Chucky did the same to promote season 2. It's really funny. It's cute.
It's awful. Oh, it's awful.
Gotta go.
It was not funny at all. The SNL one was funny. We come to this place, and he's like put a stabbing knife through chairs. Like, this isn't funny. And SNL already did it. And I mean, I applaud the initiative. I applaud what they were trying to do, but that commercial wasn't.
Did you see on Twitter somebody had Nicole Kidman tattooed?
Oh yeah, I saw that
on them, of her looking up at the screen.
What is wrong with people today?
It was a pretty good tattoo, but yeah, tattooed.
Wow. Okay.
And it says heartbreak. It's got the quote on. I think it's on his leg.
Well, some people do anything for their 5 minutes. Hey, you know what? Maybe to them that is the most beautiful, dramatic thing they've ever seen on screen.
I'm telling you.
And they just wanted to memorialize it on their body. You know what? God bless. God bless. All right. What's next?
All right. So next is Cinema Sauced. Top Game of Thrones characters, including House of the Dragon.
No, I'm not. I don't.
Oh,
we don't sit there and do lists on during live chats and stuff like that.
Yeah, I'd have to look. There's so many characters.
And Ned Stark is my favorite character, but I'll just kind of leave it at that. But there are just so many characters, and we can't go in and do lists on the spur of the moment, unfortunately. But there are a lot. There are a lot.
There are a lot. Yes.
All right. What's next?
And then I'm just scrolling really quick. I'm not sure we got this one from Richard K about Namor's origins being changed. Do you want
No,
me to just
go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. So from Richard K, with them changing Namor's origins from Atlantis to Talocan, with the Fantastic Four in the MCU, now could they make Doctor Doom from Sokovia instead of Latveria? Thoughts?
I like that idea. I mean, you could,
but there's no need to.
Yeah, I mean, we just haven't seen Latveria yet.
Yeah. So I think because ultimately in making the change with Namor, they took it from basically a Greek myth to it's
Mesoamerican, so it's Aztec, Mayan.
So you're kind of given a fundamental change there, right? Is changing Doctor Doom from a fictitious, a nondescript mid-European country to another fictitious nondescript mid-European country, then there's really no point.
Right.
And change. And by the way, we've already got our one villain that came out of Sokovia, and that was Zemo.
Zemo, yeah.
We've already got that. We've already got our villain who's really pissed off by the destruction caused there and blah, blah, blah. And so we've already had that. So could they do that? Yeah, that is an option that's available to them. But whereas with the Namor shift, there was an artistic purpose for that. I don't see what the artistic purpose would be for changing that of Doom. Unless they wanted to say Doom, they wanted to name a real country to say Doom, but I don't see them doing that either.
Yeah, I don't object to what they're doing with Namor. I'm actually fascinated by it, and I thought it was a good choice. I mean, even in the comics, John, when Namor was born, Atlantis was underneath the Antarctic ice shelf, and then Atlantis gets moved and destroyed. I mean, at some point, Atlantis is off the coast of the Pacific Northwest, like by Seattle. I mean, so there's when you're talking about, well, what Namor is it? I think it's actually pretty cool what they've done within the MCU. I'm really excited to see it. Like I was talking about yesterday, all the Aztec, Mayan, Mesoamerican stuff they're leaning into, because the Mayan people disappeared. So the idea that, well, they went underwater, there's something really cool there that I can't wait to see what they've done.
All right, what's next?
I'm excited.
Well, while you guys were talking about that, I found
there it is.
Oh my God.
So it's on a calf.
Oh my God.
Maybe I'll get that.
It's a very good tattoo.
It's a good tattoo, right?
I mean, props for that. I don't know what's underneath.
I know what is underneath.
What is that underneath there?
I hope that he gets that colored. I want to see that color because I want to see a little.
Well, I don't think they will, because you can already tell they've already put shading in on it and everything.
It's pretty good though.
It's a good tattoo, but hey, if that thing changed your life, then by all means.
And it looks like that guy's in a comic book store.
And no, he's in a tattoo shop.
Oh, is that a tattoo shop? Okay.
All right, what's next?
All right, so let's see. We have Kenzie Brumley. Hi, guys. I'm loving the Lakers documentary on Hulu. I think they dodged a bullet by firing the son. The drama behind the franchise is crazy.
Yeah.
Ann and I were watching the latest episode the other night. First of all, I'm not a big Kobe Bryant fan, but I respect him a lot as a player. And his final game, like you couldn't have written a better Hollywood. His final game before he retired goes off for 60. Goes off for 60 points in one game. Probably a top 10 greatest player of all time. But like Anne, we're watching this, and Anne is just like, she's got her hands on her face. She goes, this family, this Bus family is Succession. I mean, it's totally Succession. And yeah, I mean, look, she was right. Like Jeannie, at some point, Jeannie has to fire her own brother, and then two of the brothers try to wrestle control the company away from her with lawyers, and then she wins the battle, and all this kind of, it's like, it is Succession.
It's true.
It's Succession. So but it is amazing drama. Like this documentary series, I'm not a huge Laker guy, but this documentary series has been phenomenal. Between that and Winning Time.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I mean, that's enough to make me a Laker fan. I mean, so, yeah. All right, what's next?
All right, next we have Casey Mack. Also just got back from Don't Worry, Darling at an Alamo Draft House. And the best part of that experience was literally only getting 3 previews before the movie started.
Hey, listen, the old ArcLight had a rule: 3 trailers and the movie. Alamo Draft House. Does not do this 30 minutes bullshit.
No.
And I've got my issues with Alamo Drafthouse. I do, but they do a lot of things that I really like, and that is one of them. More theater should be like that.
I agree.
All right,
Miss
what's
the
next?
ArcLight.
All right, next we have Hitchcock is the GOAT. If House of the Dragon is like Civil War, then I suppose Game of Thrones would be Infinity War and Endgame. Quadruple the characters with a much bigger epic story. Both terrific.
I mean, I had my doubts going into House of the Dragon.
Me too.
I really did. I had my doubts. I thought, is this going to be a college drama troupe putting on their version of Game of Thrones? But I'm not going to say it's better than Game of Thrones, but it's really good.
I just like the fact that it's different. You know, it's still it's in the same world, but the way they're telling the story, the focused nature of it, and the fact that we're really getting to know these characters. I mean, we got to know the characters in Game of Thrones, but it was so many. It was so expansive. But it's laser focused, and I love that focus.
Yeah. All right, what's next?
All right, next we have Tyler Pfeiffer. Are you and or Rob familiar with the band Ghost? Their Blue Oyster Cult meets ABBA meets Black Sabbath. Cool imagery as well.
No,
but man, that sounds right up my alley. I'm gonna go look at them up right now.
This is them.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Okay. All right, what's next?
All right, next we have Hitchcock is the GOAT. The year Al Pacino won Best Actor for Scent of a Woman, he also was nominated for supporting actor for Glenn Ross.
Yeah.
1992.
Yep.
Wait, he was nominated for what for Glengarry?
Supporting actor.
Okay, yeah. So, but that goes to the conversation we were having on the John Campea Show earlier today.
Yep.
That you can get nominated multiple times in different categories. You cannot be nominated, I believe.
And he won for Scent of a Woman.
Yeah, he did. You cannot be nominated twice in the same category in the same year. But different categories, yes, but not in the same category. All right, what's next?
All right, next is Al Renshaw. I would love to see a three-way battle between Ironheart, Ramonda in Black Panther suit, and Namor. Dream would be that as Namor is about to break window, they armor up. And then that's it for that one. So I don't know if there was more to it.
I mean, I having not seen a split second of this character in a movie, I can't say I can include Riri in any list of Dream Battle when I have no idea what this character will or will not be. How will it be similar or different from the comic books? I'm not really sure. I'm going to be straight up honest with you. I'm going into Wakanda Forever, and I'm not giving Ironheart a single thought going into it.
Unless the character turns out to be cool.
I mean, yeah, once the movie starts, we'll see what happens to it. But I really don't care about Ironheart or Riri Williams. I'm not giving that character a single thought. I'm going into Wakanda Forever to see the Wakandans. That's what I'm going into this movie for.
Yep.
And we'll see what Ryan Coogler does with Riri Williams. And I may come out of that movie being a big fan of the character, but going in, I don't really care. To be honest with you, I just don't right now. All right, what's next?
All right, I am just reading through. I think that is all of them.
All
I
right.
don't see any more.
Well, guys, that'll do it for this installment of Open Mic. Thank you for spending a casual afternoon with us as we just talk about the things that we love so much. I want to thank Robert Meyer Burnett for joining me here, of course. And we've had Taylor back there running the show today. And most importantly, we've had you here joining us. Just a quick thought here. For those of you who are channel members, we're having a channel members town hall meeting at 5 p.m. That's about a little under 45 minutes from now. So I will be making a couple of small, not huge announcements, a couple small things, but I'm also going to be taking your questions as members. If you got questions about the channel, everything that we do, all that kind of stuff. So come on by and join us if you are a channel member. All right, guys, that'll do it for us for now. Make sure you come back and join us tomorrow for the next episode of the John Campea Show. Can't wait to see you there. That's it for now. And until next time, my friends, bye-bye.